Alright, more Heart of the Woods. Let me change it to the screen. If I remember correctly, I think we left off, I think Abigail and Maddie are both in their spirit form, trying to communicate with Tara and Morgan. Hey, Jinx. How are you doing today? And you are first? Sorry, King. Alright, well, let's get started anyway. So yeah, welcome back. It has been a few days since I last streamed, but that's because I had another exam this week, and exams always take up so much of my time. And last night I had a report due, so I stayed up for that, and I don't think I got to bed until like 3. That's alright. I slept in, so it's all good. But yeah, how are you doing today, King? I am hanging in there. Madison, are you okay? She puts... Wait, what happened? Let me get some context, of course. Right, we're running away from Evelyn because she saw us, and then she was like, how the fuck? That was scary. I sound sick. I hope not. I think my nose is just stuffed. Hold on. She puts her hand on my shoulder, pulling me closer to her. My head throbs painfully, and my breathing is shaky, but her touch grounds me. I'm not sure, but I'm a lot better now that we have some distance between us and her. I look backwards towards the village, half expecting her to come flying at us like some kind of demon. Hey Nate, how you doing today? Glad you could stop by. She saw us, Abigail. How is that possible? Abigail looks down on the ground, and I realize she's shaking as hard as I am. I wish I knew. Madison, she said something to you before we left, didn't she? Yeah, I didn't catch all of it, but I think I know what she was going to say. She looks shocked when she saw us, confused even. I think she didn't know about us being out here. Did I miss much? No, I just started, actually. Hold on, sorry, I did just start, but give me a second. Need to clear up my nasal passages. Alright, sorry about that. Whenever I sleep too late, I get kinda sick. Abigail's voice is barely above a whisper when she speaks. Her face is drained of color. But now she does. The message is clear. As long as Evelyn is in Eysenfield, we can't be. I'm sorry, Tara. I'm sorry, Morgan. But it looks like you're on your own. Oh, fuck. Now, Abby's perspective, have we even seen that before? I don't remember. The midday sun sits high in the sky, setting everything aglitter. The vibrant music of the forest, the pitter-patter of dripping snow, the chitter-chatter of birds, and the accompanying breeze is especially loud today. The events of yesterday are a forgotten nightmare, and so today must be a dream come true. Madison stands with her back to me and to the church, facing the forest. Her head is tilted back ever so slightly. For the first time, she looks truly at peace. For the briefest moment, she's framed by the sunlight. Then, perhaps sensing me watching, she turns around and smiles at me, and I can't help but smile back. Without a doubt, the past several days have been the happiest of my extraordinarily long existence. So can they even do anything? Can they use, I don't know, the projection? What? How are they gonna get rid of Evelyn? I know this isn't that dark of a visual novel, but what if Tara found Maddie's body? It might happen. I'm not sure. That would be terrible, though. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Yeah, I did. It's getting a bit easier. That's wonderful. I know that isn't true. That she tossed and turned and sighed until early in the morning. How does sleeping work when you're a ghost? I know, but I understand. Whatever it takes for her to feel more comfortable, more at home. I wish that I knew how to help. For me, sleep was the last thing on my mind after I passed. I explored endlessly, backtracking over and over again until I knew every step of these woods. I made the most of my situation as best as I could, and rather well, if I do say so myself. What would you like to do today? Let's go back to that forest clearing, the one with where the fairies live. I'd like to see it. My soul sings. What is going on? That out of everywhere we've been, that would be the place she wants to return. I rushed to her side, drawn to her presence like a magnet. Simply being near to her makes me happy. A part of my mind screams at me that I don't deserve it. The same way that she doesn't deserve to be so miserable. Still, I put on my brightest smile as I touch her arm. That sounds perfect. I'd like nothing better. Shall we go now? Yeah, sure. Madison is clearly, still upset about, not being alive anymore. But I guess they're making the best of it. As is tradition, I lead the way out of the church and towards the forest. The trees and branches part invitingly, familiar and old. I ask the forest to take us to the clearing, and I can feel it ripple in response. Not physically, but in my heart. I know that the forest is listening. It's difficult to explain. So much of this existence has become habit and routine for me that I keep taking for granted the difficulties Madison must be going through. The emotional turmoil, coupled with the way her own understanding of the universe itself keeps changing. I feel another pain in my heart at that. The stab of guilt once more for enjoying her presence. Madison accompanies me unhesitatingly. Her steps more confident than they used to be. We walk side by side. I relish the closeness. I wonder if it even crosses her mind. When we reach the clearing, Madison sighs contentedly, relaxed and easy. A tranquil expression settles on her face, like a masterpiece of art. I'd spend the whole day appreciating that look if I could. The grove's serenity is contagious. I also feel a little more at peace here. So is flight a thing for them, or... It seems like they can levitate. I mean, they can go pretty fast in the forest and just, pass through trees. We head for the shore of the pond, as still and glassy as ever. I really love it here. It's so calm. I nod. Of course we've discussed it before, but I don't mind. I could listen to her talk about anything for any amount of time. She's so adorable. It actually reminds me of somewhere back home. There's a little lake near where Tara and I live. Sometimes I like to go down and sit there to think. There are a ton of geese and ducks around too. Sometimes they won't leave you alone, so you just have to ignore them. I envision a flock of birds surrounding Madison, all quacking and vying for attention. Maybe they want you to sing to them too. Madison laughs, sweet and subtle. It's the most beautiful sound in the world. Nah, they just want food. It's really popular to go down and feed them. Moms do it with their kids a lot, but then the birds get so used to it that they think every human has frozen peas for them. They must be disappointed quite often then. Yeah. She trails off, looking wistful. I'm sure that she's thinking of home. I try not to ask her much about her life before I met her, because I know that the memories hurt. To my surprise, though, Madison clears her throat and continues talking. I wish that you could see it someday. My home, I mean, in America. I think you'd like it there. I'm sure that I would. I'd love to see any place that you care so much about. All the buildings and the lights. I try to envision what it might be like, but it's futile. There's so much that I don't know, so many things that I haven't seen. Trying to imagine it is like trying to imagine a color that I've never seen before. No matter what she says, it's impossible to visualize. Gosh. Even the memories I have of the few times I left Eysenfield have long since faded. To me, the only world that exists now is the forest. I keep thinking, in your time, what would I have been like? Would I be the same person if I never fell in love with films? Films? Oh, it's like a play that you can watch any time. They're really compelling. I see. Madison moves her arms a little, looking like she wants to say more, but eventually just shakes her head. She smiles a bit sadly. There are so many things like that, films or events in history that are so normal to me, but I keep forgetting that you don't know about that. So if I ever say something that makes no sense at all, I can try to explain. There are a lot of things I've wondered about, it's true. For instance, sometimes I'll see great noisy machines in the sky. Do you know what I'm talking about? Madison giggles again, but I don't know why. Yeah, those are called airplanes. They're kind of like giant carriages that carry people around. That's how we got from America to here. What? Don't tease me like that. There's no way something like that could fly. Yo, I don't know if you noticed, but you've been dead for like 200 years. No, it's true. It's really true. They're the fastest way to get around the world. There are also these things called cars, which are much smaller and only fit a few people. Hey, Amber. How you doing today? But most people own their own car and use it to get around. Do you have one? I do. Why not use that to cross the ocean? She laughs again, and I don't know why. At first I feel embarrassed, the gulf of knowledge that I lack nearly as wide as the ocean that she claims to have crossed. But then she steps closer, placing her arms around me in a light hug. Again, I don't know why. But it's lovely. I feel myself relaxing, leaning against her arms and just enjoying the closeness. The comfort, the affection. Far too soon, Madison relaxes, and I regretfully pull away from her. She gazes up at the sky, and for a brief moment, I anticipate another lesson about the modern world. I'm so happy I have an idea and something for my thesis. I feel closer to graduation than ever. Congrats! What's your idea for your thesis? Is it is it that one film, I think, on Netflix? I've been thinking a lot about what you said the other day, about how you've never wanted to leave this place. Yes, I'm far too cowardly for that. And in many other ways, too. I don't think that's cowardly at all. It's difficult to leave behind what you know and what feels safe. In fact, it's really scary. I know that the two don't really compare, but before I decided to quit Tara's show, I felt the same way, like I was afraid to leave, just because I was so used to it being part of my life. But I decided that if I wasn't happy with how things were... Oh gosh. Ugh. That I should just take the risk and change something. How charming. Everyone has those worries, though. That doesn't make you a coward. Madison half smiles, the side of her mouth curling up just a little bit. Crimson Peak. Right. Oh, nice. If we ever do find a way out of here, maybe you could come back to America with me. She's joking. I'm sure that she doesn't mean it, or at least not fully. And yet my heart flutters like a bird taking flight. Even after everything that's happened, that she'd even have concern for someone like me. She truly is the most extraordinary person I've met. You said that's going to be like my job. Do you mean like analyzing films and stuff? 'Cause if so, that's pretty cool. And as happy as her offer makes me, it hurts like a knife in my heart because I know that it could never be. I wouldn't deserve that kind of happiness anyway. Don't say that. Still, I smile back in kind. That might be nice. Would I have to ride on an airplane? Oh, definitely. People don't really take boats across the ocean for travel anymore. Not nearly as much. Pretty much everyone flies. Isn't that scary? How does something so heavy manage to stay up in the air? Well, it's kind of scary the first few times, but you get used to it. As for how it's possible, well, there's all sorts of science behind it, but that would take too long to explain. Oh, your school job, of course. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Anyways, though, you could stay with me and Tara. We've got plenty of space. Or we could help you find your own apartment. There's a lot you'd have to learn about the modern world, of course. But it'd be worth it, and we could help you learn. Jeez, could you imagine that? Madison continues on, explaining this and that procedure we'd have to go through, and how we'd overcome each obstacle. I play my part, smiling and nodding along. It's an easy role. It does sound wonderful. In fact, there's nothing I'd like more. It'd probably be like Ella Enchanted or something. And though at first I thought she was joking, she's being completely serious. That makes it hurt even more. Because I know it's impossible. I close my eyes to help hide the tears that have sprung there, unbidden. Fortunately, Madison doesn't even seem to notice. Her voice trails off, and when I open my eyes again, I see that she's looking past me, her eyes wide with awe. What's going on? Oh shit, sorry. I can only assume that she can't physically leave. Probably not without a body. Well, that's my theory anyway. I don't know how well off Madison's body is. Which is weird, because they still have bodily functions. Well, some of them anyway. I don't know. It's a strange world. I spin around, fluttering about far too early in the day. Fucking fairies! Are those the fairies you were talking about? Yes. A handful of them flit amongst the trees. They're very pretty. Paying us no mind. They move like dancers, their motions fluid and in sync with each other. As one rises up to adjust a hanging light, another fairy weaves between branches, carrying something in its hands that I can't see. Though I only spy a few of them right now, I'm sure that there are many more just out of sight, deeper in the grove or otherwise nearby. Madison watches them with unabashed awe. What are they doing? I shrug. I'm not sure. I've never seen them out during the day like this. Usually they stay hidden in their hive until the moon is out. They aren't like humans. There's something entirely different. Even though I've spoken with them before, I don't really understand them. Wait, they can talk? Like, they can speak human language? Yes, they aren't the most eloquent, but yes. I see. The only time I've talked with them was the first time I came to this grove all on my own. At first they had tried to drive me out, but eventually realized that I meant them no harm. Since then, we haven't interacted. They're part of the forest too, right? In the connected way that you were talking about before. Yes. She makes a sound in acknowledgement, but doesn't say anything more. Whatever implications or meaning that might have to her, goes unspoken. Hey, Syrup, how you doing? You did not miss much. You're fine. I kinda started, like, half an hour ago. So yeah, last episode... God, I don't know how much you missed. I don't want to spoil it for you, but, I don't know if you watched it. Soon the fairies disappear once more into the trees, whatever business that called them here finished. So, I mean, Abigail and Madison just ran into the forest again, and we met some fairies. That's pretty much what happened so far. They go silently, not even the hum of their tiny wings reaching us. Okay, you're caught up, so yeah, you didn't miss much. Basically, that's what happened. After only seconds, we're left alone again. They weren't anything like I expected. Really? How so? In stories I've heard, fairies are always smaller, and look like little people with wings, not like we just saw. I thought they looked like people with wings. And they usually live in flowers and fields, not the snow. But those are just stories, of course. I keep having to remind myself that this is real life, and that real life doesn't care what happens in stories. Madison looks down at the pond. Gently, she places the tip of her foot into the water. Of course, the water remains still, like she isn't even there. How are you doing today, Syrup? She takes a tentative step forward, still standing upon the water. It supports her effortlessly. What? Jesus? Her hands are slightly outstretched, as if she might lose her balance or footing and fall in. She turns around to face me. I had an idea, actually, about getting out of here. Do you think that the forest spirit could help us? I mean, it's powerful, right? Maybe it could use its magic to make us humans again. We could even talk to it together. You'd seriously be welcome to go back with me and Tara. I'd like that a lot, actually. I can't look at her. Can't meet her eyes. All I can do is nod, trying to smile and hoping that she doesn't see my tears. I like that too. Perhaps it could help. There's certainly a chance. There isn't. It's been a rough night, but feeling a bit better now. I'm glad you're feeling better. You've watched the Tinkerbell movies, and there are winter fairies. That's a very credible source. Yeah, there's, of course, no shame in watching them. Great. Maybe we can plan together what the best way to ask it would be. I just nod again. It's all I can do. Sure. Oh, what if it turns Maddie back, but not Abigail? That would be so sad. I can't bring myself to tell her the truth. That no matter what she asks, what she says, there's no way the spirit can grant her wish. It's not just something that can be reversed. Her mortal form was destroyed by Evelyn, just shortly after I saved her spirit. What? So there's no body at all? Wait. As far as the rest of the world is concerned, Maddie Raines no longer exists. Neither the Force Spirit nor I have the power to remake her. There's no escape. Chapter 4. What? What is this? Was that Maddie? That's a very nice dress. Another morning. Nothing's changed. No progress. No hope. The only difference this morning is that Tara's still asleep. It's the first time I've woken up before her since we started sleeping together. Yeah. Evelyn's a real pain. I don't know if... Well, what if she can come? I don't know how... Ugh. So it's permanent? Like they're both in this kind of limbo now? I'm glad she's still sleeping. I can tell she needs it. I slip out of bed and dress silently. My next move should be heading out to the shop. Sticking to routine is what's kept Evelyn off our backs. But it's almost the full moon, right? How many more days do we have? For now. The instant I start thinking about Evelyn again, I'm hit by a powerful urge to climb back into bed and wrap my arms around Tara. Hold her for a little longer. I don't. She needs her rest, and there's still some time before she leaves. Somehow, thinking about that makes me feel even worse. I try to push the thoughts away, but her voice does that for me. Oh shit, what time is it? She's sitting up in bed and rubbing at her eyes. She's still wearing her clothes from the night before. Or at least the top half. Ooh, spicy. But her sitting up doesn't mean she's actually awake. It's still early. You can rest more. No, it's fine. I got this. I'm just going to go spend some time in the shop so nobody comes to check in on us later today. Get some sleep. I'll be back soon. You sure? I move back to the bed and kiss her forehead before lowering her onto her pillow. Aw, I'm sure. I'll wake you up when I'm back. Okay, cool. Thanks, babe. I mean, thanks. Dead silence. I know what you meant. Babe. Ooh. I'm out the door before either of us can say a word. I don't want to think about that right now. Even Tara. Tara is Tara's a womanizer. Still, she is completely charmed by Morgan, which is so adorable. I just need to get to the shop. Of course. I'm so focused on that, I almost slam into Evelyn the second I step outside. No need to rush, dear. My brain jumps to panic mode. Why is she here? She's never here in the morning. Did she come for us? Cute, but this is not so cute. The door isn't shut all the way. I could run back inside. Grab Tara, get out. I know deep down that it's pointless to try. If she wanted us dead, we'd be dead. I don't know why she's sparing us, But if she changes her mind, we won't get her warning. What do you want? Her mouth curls into a frown. Am I not supposed to take an interest in my daughter's life? I thought you had outgrown that phase. I grit my teeth. The sight of Tara's body being flung into the wall, Maddie's room in the cabin, hauntingly empty. She doesn't have the right to even pretend to be my mother. I'm not your daughter. Morgan! I flinch as she raises her voice. I hate letting her get a rise out of me, but there's too many memories making me afraid of that sound. She just sighs and her features sink. She almost looks visibly hurt. Only almost. There's still something inhuman about her expression, something I've never been able to understand. You can be so cruel sometimes. You weren't always. When you were young, you were the sweetest thing. You would never imagine the things you say to me so casually now. I clench my fists. Have to keep it together. My nails push slightly against the skin of my palm. As always, my fingers freeze before they draw blood. I'm going to work. My voice comes out as a rasp, and I cringe at the weakness of it. She puts her hand on my shoulder as I try to walk past. Work can wait, dear. I'm sure your customers will understand. I have something to show you. I thought since you're so desperate to see in my office, I could give you a little glimpse of what I keep in there. This is a trap. This is a trap. This screaming trap. Evelyn drops her hand, her lips twisting into a sickeningly sweet smile. If you're not interested, however, I'm sure your American friend would be eager to join me. Oh, fuck. My blood freezes. We don't have a choice, of course not. I want to hit her. I want to scream at her. I'm not sure if it's the fear or the curse she's placed on me that keeps me rooted to this spot. I can't even look up at her. She knows she's won, as she always has. I can feel her eyes on me as she waits for me to follow her. The moment passes, and she makes a sound of affirmation. She turns away. Now, come with me, dear. Oh, God. This isn't the office. Fuck. I'm already stressed. I don't want to see this. Do I make choices? I've only made one choice so far. I don't know how many are left. It's a very hands-off visual novel. I'm basically reading a book. I figure out where we're heading after a couple minutes of walking. The forest. If she's taking me in there, then this could be it. Here we are. I look back to the house for what I hope isn't the last time. What's going to happen if Tara wakes up and can't find me? What if she never sees me again? Tara. I mutter her name under my breath. Some dumb, childish part of me hopes that she heard it somehow. It's better that she's not here, but I still wish she was. The choice was it was about Tara. Morgan could either, let her mourn or keep her strong, and I chose to keep her strong. Tara was pretty upset about Maddie just vanishing. Wait, did I skip that? What was that, dear? Nothing. I ought to thank your friend. She's made motivating you so much easier. It's nice to see you caring about someone other than yourself for once. I'd almost think that you were finally growing up if you weren't so stubbornly holding on to your teenage rebelliousness. I don't say anything. I keep my face blank. 1, 2, breathing. She pays me no mind. I really hope this is where... I really hope this isn't alluding to what I think it is. We walk into the forest, past the initial tree line into its depths. At least I know where we are. Or I thought we did. Or I thought I did. As we keep on walking, I realize that I don't know where we are at all. I don't recognize any of this. The trees are different. These aren't the ones I know. They aren't even the ones I saw when we started walking. I've walked this path dozens of times. There's no way I'm making a mistake. The branches blot out the sun even more than usual, and the shadows seem to blend around Evelyn. I can hear the creaking of old wood in the darkness. It almost sounds like the trees are moving. I've never seen the forest behave like this. I've never seen anything behave like this. As we walk, Evelyn keeps turning her head to glance at me, probably trying to see how scared I am. I don't let my expression waver. I won't let her in. She won't win this one. The things around me don't even look like trees anymore. They're too gnarled and rotten. They twist into shapes that should be impossible. It's probably her powers. They form walls around us as we walk, pushing us forward. I can't help drawing in on myself. It's like the whole forest is closing around us. I can draw a lot of parallels to my... Amber, you know what I'm talking about, but my character backstory. It's getting harder to breathe. I feel like I'm about to be crushed by the forest itself. And just when I think I can't take it anymore, we break into a clearing. Oh, shit. How does she know this place? What? And in the center of the clearing is a beautiful, radiant tree. It's actually green. Real, brilliant green needles. The trunk is so thick and sturdy that the bark makes it look armor-plated. The rich scent of the pine fills the air. The shadows? The shadows around us are kept at bay by a shimmering golden light. I can breathe again. Crisp, clear air fills my lungs. The awful sensation of the twisted forest are all but forgotten. I reach out my hand to it, but only reach. Something inside me tells me that I'm not supposed to touch it, that I'm not even supposed to be here. Kind of makes sense that Morgan is always kind of serious. She doesn't want her mother to know her feelings. Yeah, I feel like if she lets her guards down with her emotion, even once around Evelyn, she might get a hold of her. Evelyn, I mean. What is this? She ignores me, or at least I think she does. I don't turn around to look at her. I'm too transfixed by the other tree ahead of me. I don't know how long I stand there staring, but after some time I notice the air around me change. My limbs begin to numb almost immediately. When I look back at Evelyn, she's glowing. An oily shimmer all over her body. Oh. And she's smiling at me. Smiling. You were so peaceful. So calm. I can't remember another time when you were so relaxed. I hate to interrupt it, really I do, but I only have so much time to spend here. Do understand. She starts walking towards me. Oh God, is this it? That's when I see the knife in her hand. Fuck. I try to open my mouth to speak. I try to move my feet away from her. I can't. Completely still, impulse crashes against nature. My heart hammers in my chest. Every muscle in my body is frozen. I can't even shake. This forest spirit, it's so young. As small as it is, the power within it is enough to melt the ice in this place, to draw you in. You love it so much, even though you'd only met it moments ago. A rush of understanding fills me. The warmth, the peace in this place. A haven from the cold, and we are the intruders. I always knew you were part of this forest, much more than any of the others. This confirms that. She grabs my hand and holds it up, examining my palm, running her fingers over its creases as if it's like nothing she's ever seen before. I thought it would make you dangerous. It didn't. It made you weaker. She presses the blade to my hand. My mind screams at my body, desperately trying to get my muscles to respond. Your one chance at success, of escape, and you're weakened by it. She laughs to herself, like she knows a joke that I'm not in on. With a swift motion, she drags the knife against my palm. I stare in horror as blood trickles and pools from the open gash. Since you loved it so much, I wonder how it'd feel for you to be the one to kill it. What? My strings are cut in that moment, and I fall over. The rush of sensations rush over me all at once. The pain, the cold. Ah! I scream out, clutching my palm. I turn to try to crawl immediately, my instincts shouting at me as I fall to my knees over and over. Get up, run, run! But it's too late. Evelyn grabs my wrist so hard I feel like the bones are about to break, and she swings me around and presses my bloody palm into the forest spirit. Before I can rip my hand away, I feel a voice bursting forth from within. What? What? Pain rips forth from my chest the more I try to hold the words back. I cover my mouth with my hands and stumble back in horror. But it's too late. An unexplainable sound fills the air. A hideous groaning. I know what it is. I do. I don't want to admit it to myself, though. It's the spirit. Huh? Blackness moves up the shining green needles. The calming aura disappears completely, and it's replaced by something else. Pain. It's pain. I fall to my knees as the trunk begins to twist into itself. Bits of bark fall into the snow. The rotting dark blackness creeps up from its roots, and the unsteady trunk begins to sway. The needles wither and die. My head is filled with its suffering. I hear a crackling then. A black tar seeps from out of the bark, smelling of death. What? It bursts into flames. No, no, no! I try to hold my mouth closed. Incantations leave my throat in a voice that's mine, but yet isn't. Evelyn's standing farther back now, watching the scene before her. Her face is contorted into a terrifying grin. She's enjoying this. The crackling glares louder. My breath catches in my chest, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Evelyn, hand outstretched. No. Evelyn, don't stop! With a crack louder than thunder, the spirit's trunk splits into two. A beat of silence follows. And then I hear the screams. It comes from all around me, something crying out within the woods, a shrieking, earth-shattering wail. My heart breaks. It's not something in the forest. It is the forest. Somehow the trees around me are screaming in pain. I'm screaming now. I can barely hear myself through the shrieking vortex around me. I can't look. Holy fuck. I bow my head, still screaming as the fire burns. Even the fire feels wrong. It's cold, freezing. The fire blooms around the tree, shooting high above the tree line. In one giant blinding burst, the tree is gone. All that's left is a circle of scorched earth. The burn is more intense than anything I've ever seen. It looks like it stretches down forever. Somewhere in my heart, I know nothing will ever grow here again. The screams start to fade. I slowly take my hand from my ears. Thank you for being such a help, dear. Really. You're a monster. How funny. Your mother said the exact same thing. You really do take after her. I can't gather my thoughts enough to respond. The screams are still echoing in my mind. Never forget this day, child. In the brief time you have left, I want to know for certain you don't stand a chance at changing your fate. You never have. None of you ever had. And when the time comes for you to serve as my vessel, I'll make sure the next one won't either. She reaches out towards me, and I prepare for the worst. But all she does is pat my head and ruffle my hair. You can find your own way home, I assume. I know how much you love these woods. She gives another chuckle as she turns away and walks away, heading back into the shadowy trees. Was the forest spirit our only chance of bringing down Evelyn? Fuck. She disappears into the darkness. All that's left is me and the disgusting burnt circle. My mind is blank, numb with shock. Quietly, slowly, one thought begins to take form. Oh God, I have a choice here. There's nothing we can do, or she'll pay for this. I wouldn't say there's nothing we can do. Fuck that. Evelyn, you cold-hearted... She'll pay for this. She's tried to break me for years, over and over again. I've never let her, and I'm not going to let her do it now. I don't care how powerful she is. I don't care what she did to Maddie. She's going to pay, and Tara and I are going to make sure of it. We'll destroy her, once and for all. We'll leave this place behind for good, together. And nothing's going to stop us. Holy shit. What's gonna happen now? I'm scared. I open the front door and its weight drags me forward as I stumble inside. I prop myself up on the knob, trying to catch my breath. I can't. Tara must have heard the door because her footsteps come booming down the stairs. She doesn't fall. I'm surprised, given that the last 5 times she ended up slamming into the wall. Morgan, Jesus Christ, get some band-aids. Oh, are you... I keep telling her to be careful. This time I'm glad she isn't. Oh no, Morgan. Closing the door behind me, I finally manage to enter the kitchen. As she rounds the corner, I don't think band-aids are gonna help in this situation. You need, like, gauze or something. Holy shit, you're okay. I thought when you didn't come home, I'm okay. Don't worry, it wasn't anything. I can't seem to finish my sentence. My head is swimming. I stumble again, ready to collapse to the floor. Let's go upstairs. You need some rest. Come on. Her voice is warm, quiet, and reassuring. I can't believe it belongs to the same girl that spends her days yelling about the Loch Ness Monster. But it's what I need right now. Thank you, Tara. Revenge is better served cold. Snow? Hey, that's what I'm here for. We're the dream team, remember? She flashes me a now very familiar, wide-mouthed, goofy grin. I can tell she's trying to distract me from the fear and worry I can see in her eyes. She's never been hard to read, but by now she's an open book. But at least she's trying. That counts. Ugh. Come on, let's get up there. Tara holds my arm to steady me as we go up the stairs. I hate being like this. I'm not supposed to be weak. I can't be weak. You're not weak. You just need help. I ignore the shaking in my legs, and force myself to stand on my own. Even if I'm just walking to the bed to sit down, it helps. You just sit here for a minute and relax, okay? I'll go make some coffee or something. I thought you didn't even know how to make coffee. You taught her. That's where the or something comes in. It takes me a second to realize that I'm laughing. Everything's gone wrong, but I'm laughing. Every time I start to lose hope, she makes me laugh. She's smiling again. It's genuine this time. Ugh. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay. I wonder if the forest spirit is, like, gone. Isn't Abigail, like, tied to the forest spirit? And also Maddie. Like, they were both saved by the forest spirit. What does that mean for them? I'm so sad. I'm so sorry, Morgan. I can't believe this happened to her. I guess I'll take the risk. Thank you, Tara. I'm not good with words. I want to kiss her, to thank her genuinely. It's not the right time. I kissed her cheek instead. Let me fix my mic. It's like sideways. Yeah, I sure hope it's not gone, like, for good. I still have hope. She doesn't say anything, just turns and heads for the kitchen. Maybe that was a mistake, but I don't think it was. A whirlpool of panic hits my brain the instant she leaves. It threatens to overcome me, crashing over my thoughts and pulling me deeper into its abyss. My breathing runs ragged. I close my eyes, counting to 100, as I've done many times before. But it's not enough. The forest. Maddie. Evelyn. Tara. I tried to raise my head above the water. I can't do this. After everything, with Maddie and with Evelyn, Tara shouldn't have to deal with my problems too. And neither of us has time to deal with all these feelings I know we're not talking about. If I'm a part of the bigger bigger part of the picture than Maddie. I know what's that. Blah, blah, blah. God, I'm having a stroke. I know what that's going to lead to. I'll hold it in. I'll be fine. I shake my head. It's so much harder to lie to myself than it used to be. Whoa. That was sudden. Those heavy footsteps saved me from the mess in my head. Tara slips back into the room with 2 mugs of what I think is supposed to be coffee. The smell of coffee always makes me feel calm, but right now it just makes me feel sick. Here we go. If the caffeine in this doesn't wake you up, then at least it tastes well. As light as it doesn't kill me. No promises. I bring the mug to my lips and taste it carefully. It's not bad. Or I'm just desperate. Either way, I keep drinking it. So, what happened out there? Did she hurt you? Not really. She just went on about how we can't do anything to her. It wasn't anything serious. Your hand. The forest spirit. What do you mean anything serious? Bullshit. What? I want to tell her not to worry, but I can't. Evelyn's laughter rattles around in my head the second I open my mouth. I place the already empty mug of coffee on my desk. I hear Tara's sharp intake of breath behind me, and I spin around, my heart racing. Fear and worry reflect in her eyes, as her gaze flits between my face and my hand. I look down at my own palm, still bleeding gently. Are you serious? Morgan! It throbs now that I'm looking at it. With everything that happened, I forgot about it. Jesus Christ. Tara reaches forward and holds my hand between her own, applying a gentle pressure to it. Her concern is more than I can handle. I can't lie to her. I'm sorry, Tara. We've already got so much to worry about. I didn't want to give you more. I want to look after you, Morgan. Or look out for you, Morgan. I can take it. The 2 of us sit silently for what feels like an eternity. Every sentence I try to form falls apart the moment I open my mouth. The screaming echoes in my head. But eventually I do it. And then I couldn't stop. I was killing it. What I want to know is why does Morgan's blood... Does it have, like, magical properties? Tara rubs my hands. And why? Staying quiet as I continue talking. I feel my eyes stinging the more I speak, but I have to hold it together. It was burning. It was burning and dying. It was like the entire forest felt it. I couldn't stop the magic no matter what I did. And after everything was said and done, Evelyn, I feel tightness in my chest. I've never spoken like this before. To anyone. Not even to Gelidora. She told me my real mother was just like me. I can't bring myself to continue. Voicing the implications out loud would make them more real than they already are. My real mother is gone, and whatever similarities we bore mean nothing now. All that matters is that she lost. Shit, Morgan, The stinging's getting worse. She probably doesn't know how much we know. If she's trying to scare you, that means she's really scared of us. Her pulling weird shit in the force isn't gonna change anything. She can't understand. How do I tell her about the screams in the forest? That black fire. The trees were... I cut myself off. What am I doing? I already told myself I wasn't going to let this get to me. And here I am, already about to lose it. I have to keep it together. You're right. Sorry, I shouldn't have made such a big deal out of it. Hey, that's not what I meant. I want to hear what you have to say. She sits down next to me. The stinging in my eyes isn't going away, no matter how many times I try to blink it back. I don't know, I'm kind of skeptical. Because, I mean, Evelyn has the powers to make pretty strong illusions, right? What if that was one? I mean, she's always telling everyone to stay away from the forest. It seems like she's scared of it. I don't know. Maybe. You know, I'm not the best at, like, saying stuff, or knowing how to say stuff. Isn't that your job? Yeah, but do I ever look like I know what I'm doing? She holds my hand as I chuckle. You've got a point. But I'm okay, I promise. It was just some cheap scare tactic. I wouldn't let something like that beat me. Like you said, this is just a sign that we're on the right track. Just because everyone else before us failed, that doesn't mean that... Morgan. Huh? You're crying. What? No, I'm not. Inch by inch, I reach up and touch my cheek. It's wet. I can't be crying. My eyes are still stinging. I've been holding it back. It's okay. You can cry. I told you, I'm not... My voice cuts off as I let out a choked sob. I'm not... I can't hold it back any longer. I let go. Tears flow down my face for the first time in years. Each one burns my skin like a tiny, painful reminder of how pathetic I'm being. I desperately try to wipe the tears away, even though I know it's pointless. They just keep coming. I squeeze my eyes shut instead, in hopes that it will somehow force the tears back in. And then once again, I feel Tara's arms around me. She squeezes me so hard that I start thinking she's trying to wring the tears out of me. I want to push her away, to tell her that I can handle this on my own. I don't. I can't. I need her. Let it out. You know I've got you. I let it out. Oh, Morgan. I throw my arms around her and rest my head against my shoulder. All I can do is hope that the fabric muffles my sobs. She rubs my back slowly and presses her lips to my forehead. I already feel like I'm burning inside, but her warmth is different, soothing. My whole body shakes against Tara. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't say anything. She just holds me close. This isn't the girl I spent years watching yell about monsters on the internet. This isn't even the girl that stepped off the train a few weeks ago. Something about being here changed her. As I cling to her for dear life, I realize that it changed me too. I can feel my tears start to slow when that thought crosses my mind. I'm finally able to catch my breath. Tara's grip on me loosens as I stop shaking. When she takes her lips off my forehead, I have to fight the urge to pull her back down. I pull away and sit up instead. It's nice to be able to wipe my cheeks and actually have them stay dry. Looking at her now, I can see that Tara's face is stained with tears too. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Hey, it's cool. I don't think anyone on Earth or anywhere else would say you don't deserve a minute to get it all out there. If you say so. For what it's worth, I think you stand a better chance than any of the people that came before you. After all, you've got one thing they don't. What's that? She breaks into another massive grin that the tear streaks on her face can't hope to tarnish. I know what she's going to say before she even brings out the finger guns. B, obviously. I start to chuckle before bursting into laughter. Real, full laughter. Every now and then a sob slips in. I don't mind as much anymore. As always, she knew how to make me feel better. My incredibly humble savior. Hey, if I can't stay on brand even under the threat of death, I don't deserve to be popular. I love that about you. I clamped my mouth shut the instant the words leave it. I don't know where that came from. Tara's expression makes it clear she doesn't either. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. We look away from each other. I do my best to focus on anything in the room that will hold my attention. Hey, can I say something? When I look back up at her, I can see that her entire face is bright red. As much as I love to joke, I'm 100% serious about you having something they didn't have. More than one thing, actually. What are you talking about? I mean, you're really brave. Like, the bravest person I've ever met. You're smart, too. A hell of a lot smarter than I am. She scrunches up her face in that cute way she always does when she's trying to figure out what to say next. Which means I've seen a lot of it. You're all the things that I act like I am. You're smart, you're brave, you're strong. You're not afraid to fight back against bullshit. You're beautiful, you're capable. You've been through a lot of bad shit all of your life, and you're still fighting, even against things nobody else out there believes. I spend nearly every day of my life thinking about the strangest things in the world, and I still couldn't have imagined someone like you really existing. If I hadn't watched her ramble for years, then I'm sure that by now she'd be incomprehensible. But I can hear every word, and I can hear feel my heart beating faster with each one. Just quoted that Harry Potter meme or something we have that Voldemort doesn't. That was savage. And you're just really awesome and fun to be around. And being here with you is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I don't want this to end. You're in love with me. I'm in love with you. Wait, did I just... And she... We both sit in stunned silence. I tried to tell myself that I don't know where that came from. Another lie. I've known for a while now, just like I know that I... Look, I'm really sorry. I know we agreed from the start that we wouldn't catch feelings. I swear I've never had this happen before. She's a mess. A disaster, if you will. But she's a mess that I'm in love with. I get that you're upset, and I'm sorry for bringing this up now while we've got all this other shit going on, but when this is over, I can just leave, and I won't make a big deal about any of it, and we can just go back to our own separate lives. It's happening! I grab her cheeks and pull her face towards mine, before she can even realize I've moved. I bring her lips together hard and kiss her in a way I've never had before. I don't know how to describe it. I just know it's something new. We've kissed plenty of times, but this isn't like any of those. It isn't like any kiss I've ever had with anyone. It's healing. It's grounding. It's incredible. It only takes a second before she kisses back hard. She grabs me again, and I can feel her hands moving along the length of my body. It's like she's looking for handholds. Is that why they call them love handles? I realize in the back of my mind that this is the first time we've had a kiss this deep without one of us putting their tongue in the other one's mouth. Oh, I'd laugh if I didn't have more important things to do with my mouth. We do have to stop for breath eventually. All we do is blow hot air into each other's faces for a split second before coming back together. This is too good to let it end so soon. One of us is crying, yet it better not be me. We break to gasp for air. I love you too. Obviously. Tara plants smaller kisses on my bottom lip as I speak. Yeah, I kind of figured. Saying it out loud feels incredible. It's like dropping weights I've been carrying for miles. I can feel everything Evelyn took from me coming back in force. I guess I really do have you after all. So sweet. With an air of finality, we break apart but remain close. Tara presses her forehead to mine and nuzzles my nose. I'm not gonna let her hurt you. I promise. I know. We're gonna beat this thing, Morgan. We're gonna kick Evelyn's ass and we're gonna save my best friend. And when we leave this shitty village behind for good, I want you to come with us. Tara, I've been planning to leave Eysenfield for years. Of course I'm going with you. She closes her eyes and does a little fist bump gesture. I know it's just for show. I laugh anyway. So, what does this make us? What do you mean? Oh, you know, just gals being pals. I don't know what they're talking about. What? Are we like dating or... She rubs the back of her neck and smiles awkwardly. I mean, it's been a while since I've done something like this, and this isn't exactly a normal dating scenario. I know what she's trying to say. We don't know what's around the corner yet. But right now, I don't care what's around the corner. Yes. Huh? I'd love to have you to be my girlfriend, Tara. You're right. We don't know what's coming next, but I do know that no matter what, we're leaving Eysenfield together. So let's leave it together. She freezes for a second. Then she gives me a massive, goofy grin and throws her arms around me. Romance and wordplay. My mom was wrong when she said I couldn't have it all. We try to kiss, but we're too busy laughing. We fumble a little bit more before we finally make it. So, girlfriends, huh? That's how it works, yeah. Awesome. Cool. Girlfriends, yeah. You sure do have a way with words. Hey, I have other talents. Oh yeah? Like what? I already know she's about to kiss me, but I beat her there. My lips meet hers on the way up. Her squeak of surprise melts away as we hold each other. We're still in danger. We still don't have any real chance at victory. We still have more questions than we do answers. But I'm not afraid. Not anymore. Tara's me with my GF. So wholesome. We're going to make a life for ourselves, somewhere out in that world. And nothing's going to get in the way of that. I promise. Maddie, still alive, right? Maddie? It's been a weird morning. Usually when I get up, Abigail's awake and ready to go, and usually she has been for several hours. This morning, though, I awoke to find her dozing nearby. Ugh, excuse me. Long past when she'd normally be up. She complained about having a headache, so we decided to take a walk through the forest to clear her head. Does that mean the forest spirit is actually gone? I really hope it's not fucking not, okay? So far, it seems to have had the opposite effect, though, and we've been walking in uncomfortable silence. It's been maybe an hour or so when we first noticed the buzzing. At first, it was very faint, like the sound of the wind or the rustling trees, but then it started to get louder and louder. Fairies! It's the first word she said in ages. She pulls me closer to her as the buzzing gets closer. Sure enough, the source of the noise soon comes into view. What are they doing here? Dozens of fairies, maybe even as many as 100, flutter past overhead. They form a cloud rushing through the trees, nimbly weaving over and under the branches. When I first saw fairies back in the clearing, their movements were graceful and delicate, but now they're frenetic and urgent. Ah, shit. The swarm travels right towards us, though they don't seem to notice or care about us at all. The buzzing has grown to an almost ear-splitting level, and I realize it comes from their wings. Like bees, their tiny wings beat rapidly to keep them up. They're a blur against the fairies' snowy-looking bodies. Suddenly, several of the fairies split off from the rest and dive towards us. I fling up my hands to protect myself, but they come to a halt overhead. This is my first chance to get a good look at them. Well, they're very blue and they look ghost-like, I guess. Their bodies are smooth and pale blue with a whitish tinge. Their eyes are beady and small, looking more like tiny flecks of obsidian than anything with sight. At first, it looks like they're wearing gowns, but then I realize what looks like clothes are parts of their body. Colorful plumage helps make each fairy distinct from one another. Rather than legs, their bodies taper off into a point, like little ballerinas. Like snowflakes, no two look the same. One of them turns a somersault while the others hover anxiously. Our queen! Is that you? Have you returned? Queen? Abigail? Their voices are all identical, squeaky and raspy, yet impressively loud despite their tiny size. It takes a second for me to realize that they're addressing me. I'm sorry, I'm not your queen. I'm just an ordinary human. A human? Ordinary? Don't think so. They crowd in a little bit closer, their fingers grabbing the empty air as if to pick me up and carry me away. I take a step backwards with Abigail still holding tight to my arm, but the fairies just creep in even closer. Their wings beat hummingbird fast, distractingly loud. I promise, I'm just a regular person. You're mistaken if you think I'm your queen. A mistake? Have you seen her? We've been looking. We haven't seen her. We haven't seen anything like her. I have no idea what a fairy queen looks like, but I'm sure I haven't seen anything that fits the description. How long has she been missing? It's hard to say. Did you know? Time is a human concept. Their answers aren't helpful at all. They at least understood my question, which means they have some knowledge of time. It doesn't make a difference, though. The rest of the swarm has moved on, the buzzing fading once again, but they don't seem too bothered. If we see her, I'll be sure to tell you you're looking. That won't be needed. She surely knows. That's why she's our queen. The fairy's peculiar way of speaking in turn is almost comical. They're friggin' hive mind. Since they haven't left us alone yet, I assume that they're still expecting or hoping for something. I'm a little afraid to find out what. Do the three of you have names? We don't. We have no need. Names are for humans too. They all nod in unison. Given how everything else about them seems to be insect-like, I just assume that they have a hive mind of sorts. It would fit with everything else I know about the forest. I'm getting a bit tired of all the different networks and connections. It's silly, but it feels like a little like not knowing the password to a friend's Wi-Fi. To help them keep straight in my mind, I give each one of them a name. The one with the purple flower... Oh shit. Well, might as well save. I always do that. But it's always a good thing. The one with the purple flower is Hey. Hi. Annan has the blonde hair, and the last one is Frio. Frio, very fitting. Beside me, Abigail tugs at my sleeve surreptitiously. She's angled away from the conversation, trying to lead me out of it. I turn back to the fairies, putting on my best customer service voice. We have to go now. It was nice to meet you. I hope you're able to find your queen soon. I don't want to turn my back on them, so I wait for them to say their farewells and leave. But instead, they come in even closer, causing Abigail to gasp. Don't go! What if you stayed? You could be our queen. You would do. You would do. We could make it so. It would be easy. Alarm bells ringing in my head, I start to step backwards, with Abigail keeping right on me. This is getting weird. There isn't anyone else. Not everyone is suitable. But you are. Let us show you what it'd be like. We can give you a taste. Would that be alright? Their buzzing and flittering slows as 3 pairs of eyes stare at us. Abigail squeezes my arm. Aren't fairies like tricksters? I'll trust this. This is a scam, clearly. We're gonna wake up with our ghost organs gone. Ghost organs. I move my mouth to say no, but the way their gaze pierces into me roots me to the spot. Like tiny dancers adorned with glitter, their skin shimmers in the low light filtering through the clouds. Madison? Come on, let's go. But I can't, or rather I don't want to. Not yet. What if they know something useful, Abigail? We know lots of things. Secret things, clever things. We can know you, too. They're pests. Their buzzing is a little too loud, and their voice is a little too shrill. But you don't belong here. We can tell. But wouldn't you like to belong? They creep a little bit closer in a synchronized motion. What's their problem? They're close enough now that I could reach out and grab one if I wanted to, or slap them away. I don't, though. A place to belong. Could they really offer that? What exactly do you mean? I could feel Abigail's grip tighten around my coat, but she doesn't say anything. Sensing an opening, the fairies circle dizzyingly around our heads. Oh God. The forest doesn't reject you. But it doesn't accept you either. We could change that, though. Whatever it is you want. Whatever you're searching for, if you help us. Wouldn't you like that? This is so creepy. With a jolt, I turn to face Abigail. I'm sure she knows what I'm thinking. Whatever I want, there's only one thing. Freedom. Abigail stares back at me for a moment, and then presses herself against me. Looking up at the fairies, I nod. Okay, just a taste. Excited, they dive downwards until they're level with my face. Abigail cringes but doesn't let go. As one, the fairies close in, placing their hands on my face like they're checking my temperature. Their hands are frigid, painfully so. It's amplified by the fact that I haven't felt cold in days. My hands jerk upwards out of instinct, ready to pry them away, but I don't. Then one of the fairies moves their hands to cover my lips. One covers my ears, and the other covers my eyes. What? Speak no evil? For a split second, I feel like I'm falling through the air. And then it all hits me. All I see is black. I'm alone, and yet hundreds of presences flood my consciousness all at once. I can tell they're the fairies, but I don't know how I can tell. I'm bombarded by their awareness like tiny darts, not using words or thoughts or intentions, but just feeling. They're somehow distant, as if behind a wall, but so present. I try to find the semi-familiar presences of Hay, Frio, and Anan, but they're indistinguishable from the rest. There's no individuality, no sense of identity at all. They're just the fairies as a whole. But I can feel what they're feeling. Panic and anger and hurt all trained together. The feeling of being lost. of not knowing where to go or what to do, but not being able to sit still. Though I can't tie it to any particular moment or event, the feeling hits me so strongly, so undiluted that I think I might cry. I can feel that they've been scared by something, but I don't know what that something is. Then, at last, I feel a nudge within my mind, the sensation of being noticed. The presence takes me in, welcoming me. It occurs to me that I no longer exist. I try to ask what's going on, but I don't need to. The moment the question forms, the presence with me starts to answer. Images play in my head, ones I've never seen before. They're grainy like an old film. If I try to focus on a particular detail, the whole thing becomes muddy. I can see flames burning away at the forest. Oh shit, so it was real. The fire is so real that I can almost feel its warmth. But when I start to focus on it, that too vanishes. The presence of the fairies weighs on my mind, an uninvited audience to the next part. I can see a fairy stumbling alone, but something's wrong with it. I realize instantly, I can't feel its presence. Where it should be, there's just a gaping hole so vast and profound that it hurts by sheer exclusion. It's agonizing. I want to tear my heart out of my chest so I don't have to feel it anymore. The presence of the fairies, the whole nest tries to reach after it, and to fill the hole, but it won't allow itself to be touched. The moonlight overhead which I crave falls onto the lone fairy, who hastens to escape it. The lone fairy flees, and the rest of us, mourn. One word pulses through my head, both a condemnation and a reassurance. One word, though I don't know what it means. Moonsick, moonsick. Moonsick, moonsick, moonsick. What? The vision twists and I can see a woman. But she isn't a woman. She's also a fairy, but not just. I am so happy and relieved to see her that I just know she's the fairy queen. I can feel how much she misses the lone fairy. I know because I miss her too desperately. I can see her searching, her hope never fading until one day she's gone. Is the lone fairy Dora? Maybe? The loss is even greater this time. A sick mixture of guilt and shame plagues me, because I don't know where she is. I don't even know how long she's been missing. How could I have not noticed? The loneliness is so great that I want to do anything to erase it. Another silhouette flickers just out of sight, but I can't keep track of it. We all have to watch it together, and then I realize it's me. But just like the fairy queen I saw before, it's also not me. Visions of time pass, months, years, centuries, and throughout them all the loneliness is gone. And it all feels right. I could fix this. What? The fairies remove their hands from me, and I burst back into the real world with a mighty gasp for air. Madison, are you alright? The fairies dart back up, away from the furious glare that Abigail gives them. All I can feel now is her hand clutching me. And I put my arm on her shoulder for support. Maybe I'm missing something, but is the fairy queen who I think it is? I don't know. I have no clue who she might be. Hold on, actually. Evelyn? Maybe. God, that would be weird. You might be right, though. I'm starting to think that the fairy queen is Jolly Dora. Okay. I know who you mean, but that's just a funny way to spell it. My head spins, and for a second I think I might fall over. The dizzy spell passes soon. Once I'm confident I'm not going to collapse, I nod. I'm fine. How long was I out? Abigail's face flickers into a look of confusion. She presses her hand to my forehead. Out? I didn't think they've even begun. What? I watched the fairies struggling to comprehend how so much could have happened in an instant like that. There's no way. We told you, didn't we? We aren't bound by time. Join us and you won't be either. Now that you've seen, and now that you've felt, will you join us? Eyes wide, Abigail looks up at me. She doesn't have anything to say. She doesn't have to say anything for me to know she's begging me to decline. Oh, it's okay, King. I don't know how to spell it either. I wish she could have felt how warm it was, how nice it was to belong like that. Yet, at the same time, it feels like a distant dream now. Something detached and fading. I try to remember the sensation, but I can't. It's water slipping through my fingers. It seems so real, but it wasn't. It was only a second. Geladora? Nah, it can't be that. It was like something like gelato, right? I can't sign my life away to the fairies for 1 second of visions, no matter how right it felt, no matter how comfortable. I'm sure that I was just seeing what they wanted me to see. I smile at Abigail and then shake my head, rejecting the fairies. I'm sorry, but I can't. Thank you for showing me what it'd be like, though. How can we persuade you? We need our queen soon. You could be our only hope. I know you do, but I'm sorry, that just can't be me. We hope you'll change your mind. We'll be waiting for you. We'll be waiting for a queen. They're kind of creepy, but they're also very powerful. With that, they turn tail and dart off in the same direction that their swarm had gone. Maybe they could help us, Soon, all trace of them is gone, like they'd never even been there. Madison, are you sure you're alright? Yeah, I'm sure. It was just a lot. Was that really that fast? Yes, they touched your face, and then a moment later you gasped. That's insane. It felt like a long time, like years had passed. Abigail looks troubled, staring off into the forest where the fairies disappeared. Fairy magic is strange and beyond me. They're similar to the forest spirit, and yet... Oh, wrong voice. How's Abigail? Different, but in a way you couldn't put into words. That's right. You certainly did see a lot, didn't you? Yeah, I guess so. Have you ever met their queen, or seen what she looks like? Just once. Long ago. She and the forest spirit are both guardians of the forest. Did you see her in your vision? I think back to what I saw, as best as I could remember. The image shifts and shakes in my head, not wanting to be called to mind. More than what she looked like, I just remember how I felt, so happy and relieved to see her. I did, but I didn't get a clear look at her. I knew who she was, but I don't know if I'd recognize her if I passed her on the street. Do you think you could mistake me for her like they did? Absolutely not. You're much prettier than she is. Abigail says it very matter-of-factly, as if she didn't give me an enormous compliment. Sweet. And she carries on like it too. He's still my beating heart. But to the fairies, I expect it's hard for them to tell the difference between humans, so maybe you looked like her to them. I wonder how long the Queen's been gone. It seems like they've been coping just fine without her, until something happened to scare them. Something like what? Something hot and bright, something burning, something that hurt to think about. I don't know. I think it had to do with fire, maybe? So much of what I saw felt real, but most of it wasn't. Fire. Worry creases her face. What's wrong? Did you remember something? No, it was just a thought. Rather than elaborate, she fidgets with her hands. I don't push the subject. Maybe that's enough fresh air for today. We can head back to the church. Alright. I'm pretty sure I detect a hint of relief in her voice. Huh. For the first time, I lead the way home. At least I hope it's the way. I'm reasonably confident. Does Maddie know the way? Apparently. At my side, Abigail remains quiet and lost in her thoughts. With one hand, she clings limply to my sleeve, trusting my navigation. I don't disturb her, instead concentrating on remembering the path. It's a challenge myself. I'm sure that if necessary, Abigail would be able to lead us home from anywhere. Still, I'm beginning to fear that I've led us astray when the grim walls of the church start to come into view. A mixture of relief and pride flows through me. It's also a little bittersweet. I've come to think of the church as home, even though I never felt that way about the cabin. Despite the fact that the concept of home is just a formality now. Surrounding ourselves with walls and a roof doesn't change a whole lot. Clouds are beginning to settle overhead, muting the daylight and making everything murky. It feels fitting for the mood. Abigail speeds up a bit as we reach the doors, and she's the first one inside. She sits down on one of the benches, fatigued. Mind if I join you? I gesture at the open spot beside her. Please do. Wordlessly, she rests her head against my shoulder. Headache still? She nods. I'm afraid so. Our encounter there sure didn't help. I'm sure. They gave me a headache of sorts, too. More of a notion that I can't get out of my head. The fairy's outstanding offer sits with me. As hard as I try, I can't fully push the idea away. If there isn't any other way out of this, then maybe being a fairy queen would be preferable to just being a normal ghost. As long as I could still have Abigail with me. That's a last resort, though, because for as long as I can, I have to hold out hope that things can just go back to normal. That Tara and I can leave Eysenfield the same way we arrived. And that we can take Abigail with us. Beside me, Abigail shifts her head just a little. I'm sorry. Am I bothering you like this? Not at all. I wonder if she's close enough to hear my heart beating. Does your heart beat? Maybe it can't always be like this, but just for now, it's alright. Although it's been a couple days since we met the fairies, and they made their offer, I haven't been able to get it out of my head. The visions themselves are just slush by now, but the memories of them having eroded into non-existence. But the feelings remained. The feeling of belonging and of freedom. Ugh. There's something else I can't get out of my head, though, and she's sitting right beside me. Madison, here they come. Sure enough, a mother deer and her fawn come traipsing out of the bushes, no doubt on their way to get a drink. Starlight and the waxing moon make them look like ghosts at first, barely visible in the dusk. Upon entering the clearing, they see us and both freeze. Abigail smiles encouragingly, reaching out a hand toward them. After a moment's hesitation, the fawn takes one tentative step towards us, then another and another. This one's name is Alma. Hello, Alma. I greet it the same way I would greet my friend's dog or cat. Deciding we're not a threat, the mother deer goes to the pond, while the baby one creeps even closer. Abigail never moves towards it, never pushing too far. Then it nuzzles her hand, leaning into the soft scratching motion of her fingers. Is this the deer that was watching you sing the other day? Most likely. Alma's a little bit shy and sometimes prefers to keep her space. You know this deer pretty well, huh? Of course. We're very good friends. To demonstrate, she strokes Alma's tawny neck. She doesn't even have to sit up to do so, since the fawn's face is just about level with her shoulders from where we're sitting on the ground. Alma closes her eyes, clearly enjoying the attention. Would you like to pet her? I'm certain she'll let you. Sure. I lean forward, my hand outstretched like Abigail's was, but the second I move, Alma's eyes go wide and she bounds away into the darkness. Her mother watches, alarmed, from the shoreline. Guess not. Alma, come back. I promise Madison won't hurt you. She's just as sweet as you are. I'm glad for the darkness and that she can't see me blush. While she's not looking, I scoot a little bit closer to Abigail. Just a bit. The hanging fairy baubles help to illuminate the young deer, who watches from a safe distance. None of the fairies themselves seem to be around, though. It takes a bit, with Abigail and I both sitting silently, but the fawn chooses to come back after all. Her steps are still reluctant, and ready to dart away at any second. She lets Abigail pet her, but watches me rarely as it happens. I don't mind. I'm content to just watch and enjoy seeing how happy it makes them both. How long have you known Alma? It must have been a while for her to trust you like this. Oh, yes, I've known her whole life, and I've known her mother since she was small, too. Abigail waves at the mother deer by the pond, who's returned to sating her thirst. That's amazing. I can only imagine the patience, time, and dedication it must have taken to earn the trust of the woodland creatures. Still, all things considered, I'm not surprised that they make an exception for someone like Abigail. She exudes comfort. I'm not sure how else to describe it, and I've certainly never felt anything like it before. Maybe being close to her is just as comforting for the deer as it is for me. Do you have any other animal friends that I'll get to meet? Oh, certainly. If you'd like, I'm sure Mr. Bear is asleep for the season, but perhaps once he wakes up. There are also a pack of wolves around, but for Alma's sake, that would be best left for another time. The deer nuzzles her hand in agreement, and Abigail coos contentedly at it. None are quite so friendly as Alma and the rest of the deer, though. When I was a child, I wanted to have a deer for a pet. I thought that perhaps I could learn to ride one like a horse. That's hilarious. My sister and I would look for footprints in the snow and track them for as long as we could. She looks up at me, smiling despite the melancholy tone her voice has taken on. We never got very far, of course, hardly a few feet into the forest, but to children like us, it was quite an adventure. You must miss her a lot. Abigail hardly ever mentions her family. I imagine that despite how long it's been, their memories must still be painful. She smiles thinly. In a sense. The deer is still luxuriating under her caress. Her hand moves rhythmically and gently, alternating between petting and scratching Alma's neck. She relaxes a little, resting against my side, but continuing to pet the deer. More than anything, I think I miss the days of wonder and awe, back when the forest and all of its creatures were still a mystery. Sometimes I wish it could be like that again, that it could be unknown. You wish that you hadn't met them? No, not at all. At least not given the circumstances. I'm quite grateful for the companionship they've given me. For so many years, they've been one of the few sources of company I've ever had. But while my love for them has never diminished, I've come to the conclusion that it's grown to the most it can grow as well. That's simply what the world has become for me. A small world of knowns and nothing more. She looks away from the deer and back at me. A few tears spot her face, but she doesn't look sad. In fact, she's beaming. And then, I met you, Madison. Moonlight frames her face. The lovely night sky, the fairy tale friendly deer, the ethereal woman. It's an image straight out of a painting. You were my first unknown in countless years, the first soul I could speak with that I didn't yet understand. And what a wonderful unknown you turned out to be. I'm frozen again. I've never had anyone say anything that sweet to me. How am I supposed to respond to something like that? I try to calm my heart as it hammers in my chest. Looking at her soft expression only serves to accelerate its rhythm. Thank you. That's really, really sweet. I think you're wonderful, too. Her free hand darts out to grab mine before I have a chance to react as her eyes widen more, nearly startling the deer away. Do you really mean that, Madison? I really do. You're an incredible person. I can't imagine having to go through what you've been through without losing any sort of capacity for joy, but here you are, still so full of energy and positivity. I hope that I can maintain that sort of optimism. Aww. Abigail lets go of the deer and flings her arm around me in a tight hug. It's a pretty awkward position because of how we're sitting together, but I don't mind. I hug her back as best as I can, my only anchor in the storm of chaos that my life has become. Oh. Indignant, almost slicks her ears back and darts off towards the trees again. Without letting me go, Abigail cranes her neck to watch, this time not calling the deer back. Alma's mother bounds over to join her daughter, and they both go careening off. I lean my head down to rest against Abigail's in what's become a familiar position. When did we get so comfortable with each other? Being like this just feels natural. It's almost the full moon. Shit. She parts from me after a moment, sitting up straight again. She tilts her head up to look at the stars, and I gaze with her. The night is mostly clear, except for a few wispy clouds. All is still and quiet and calm. Even the pains of the forest don't seem to reach us here. I wouldn't call myself an optimist. I blink, surprised by her sudden words. I don't, nor have I ever really had much hope. There are small comforts and delights, but those aren't the same thing as hope. I can remember names and faces, and even dreams and aspirations that I once had. But do you know what the most curious part of it is? She glances at me, and I notice tears in her eyes. Without thinking, I reach up and brush them away. No reaction. My heart pounds in my chest, nervous about something that I can't identify, or that I'm unwilling to accept, afraid to be wrong about. What is it? I can't remember how it felt for those dreams to be within reach. Even with my meager, lonely existence, there was still a chance. As unlikely as it would have been, there was always the possibility that someday, something would change. Something might happen. There was a light, so to speak, to look forward to. And the day that I died, that light went out. More tears, replacing the ones that I wiped away. Have to go now. Goodbye. Bye, Amber. Good night. Thank you for stopping by the way. Yes, take care. Replacing the ones that I wiped away sparkle in her eyes. I move to repeat the motion from before, but this time she stops my hands, holding them in her own between us. I never gave thought to what this unlife might be keeping me from. Not from the life I left behind, but whatever it is I would have been met with had I lived to the end of my days. For a long time I considered myself lucky, that I was free from hurt and pain and worry and loss, even if they were predictable and boring. My years here in the forest haven't been unpleasant. But I've never been optimistic. I've never had anything to look forward to. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine meeting someone as perfect as you. Never did I imagine that I would be happy again. I understand. I know what she's saying, and more importantly, what she means. A shiver runs down my spine. But Madison, I don't deserve this happiness, not at the cost of your own. I keep thinking how if I had been a bit faster, or more decisive, perhaps I could have saved you that day in the snow. And that even if not, I don't know what future I've stolen from you. I don't know what awaits those of us who pass on. All I know is this unlife, and its permanence, and the way that you deserve better. She's crying now, fully. Her chest heaves into a sob, and I pull her closer to me in a tight hug as I can manage. As kindly and delicately as I can, as gently as she always treats me, I hold her and sway gently, as much as our position will allow. I can tell, just from the way she cries, that she's been holding this in for a long, long time. I let her let it all out. It must have hurt so bad to be feeling this way. I speak in a whisper. It's not your fault at all. Don't ever blame yourself for any of this. I know I don't. I can move my cursor away. Ah, that's beautiful. Ever since we met, that day in the forest clearing, all you've done is made things better for me. I don't know if I ever told you this, but during those first days after we met, seeing you again was all that I would look forward to. Erica, I'm catching part of this life for once. I am so glad you could stop by. How are you doing today? You came by at a very pivotal moment, I think. I go to bed thinking about you and wake up the next morning thinking about you. And as for everything else, to be honest, I don't know how to feel about all of it, a lot of it. So much of it is just hard to process. I thought that would get easier with time, but it hasn't. But there is one thing I know. One thing I'm absolutely sure of. I squeeze her hands and see her startle, just a bit. No matter what I'm missing out on, I'm sure I'd rather be here with you. I love it so much. Great and pretty gay, aren't we all? You love this, Vian. It is so great. I mean it, every word of it. It's so beautiful. I've never really put too much thought into an afterlife, or anything like that. But any time spent here with Abigail is time well spent. Max! Glad you could stop by. Hello guys, just got home from the airport. What did I miss? Well, you did miss quite a bit, but, I mean, you'll see. You'll see. How are you today, by the way? And if that means eternity, then, well, so be it. They're so close. Beside me, Abigail gazes into my eyes wondrously. Her lips move as she searches for the words she wants to say. Madison. She shifts so that the starlight caresses her face, perfect and yet not nearly as luminous as she is. May I kiss you? For once in my life, I don't overthink it. Yes. Her eyelids flutter and close. Yeah, there wasn't really much of a plot twist. Sorry. Her breathing trembles and steadies. I empty my head of any other thoughts. Guys? And I press my lips to hers. So soft and so warm. As delicate as the fresh fallen snow. As sweet as cotton candy. Her form shivers against me, and I place an arm around her for support. And for comfort, mutually. I can feel her getting more confident and more relaxed as 200 years of loneliness are melted away by one, and we're left as just two souls sharing a first kiss under the night sky. It feels so right that after we've both been through so much sadness and loss, that we're now able to share this moment of joy. Not just share it, but to be able to offer it to each other. It's our light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's so sweet. Like, they're... God. And Morgan and Tara. They're like facing... I don't know, the end of the world. And they still get the chance to express their feelings. It's just so wholesome. Even though this is a very terrible situation, let's not think about that right now. When we finally part, my lips still feel electrified. She regards me with a coy expression, but a happy one. That was even more wonderful than the many times I had imagined it. I hope it was worth the wait. I'd wait another 200 years if it was the only way I get to kiss you again. I promise you won't have to. Well, the end of this world. Pretty much. This little forest, Eysenfield. To prove it, I lean forward and give her another quick peck on the lips. Abigail leans against my side yet again. We've done this several times before, but it's never felt like this. It's never felt this right. Everything feels a little bit brighter now. Our next day passes blissfully. We wander the forest, seeing all our favorite spots. The comfort of our new relationship makes the time we spend together even more joyful. Everything is prettier when I'm seeing it with Abigail beside me. Of course, as has become our tradition, we end up back at the mystical fairy grove. We settle into our favorite spots by the shore with a perfect view of the pond. As much as I love films, I've never been a big fan of romantic scenes. They always feel so forced. The soaring music, the obvious atmosphere, cheesy dialogue. They're so divorced from real life that I just can't take them seriously. But here I am, watching the sunlight reflect off of the shimmering water of the lake as the woman I love leans against me. No, they haven't seen each other, sadly. I don't know. I hope it happens soon. And I think that maybe those scenes weren't so unrealistic after all. There's even music. Madison? What is it, sweetheart? Sweetheart? I don't use pet names. It's not like me at all. But with her, I feel like it fits. I know I've said this before and will probably say it many times in the future, but today and yesterday have been some of the happiest days of my life. Mine too. And it's okay. I'll never get tired of hearing you say that. She smiles at me, as soft as ever. But hidden in her expression and in her tone of voice, I can detect a tinge of sadness. I touch her face, running my thumb across her cheek. She closes her eyes and leans into the motion. Are you feeling okay? Of course. Why wouldn't I be? I don't know, you just looked a bit sad. Maybe it was my imagination. I half expect her to deny it, but instead she nods. You do know how to read me, don't you? I do. What's wrong? You can tell me anything, I promise. Only if you want to talk about it, of course. She pushes closer to me in response, resting her head against my chest. This day is so lovely, I don't want to say anything that could spoil it. You don't have to worry about that, Abigail. I love you, and that means I want to be there for you no matter what. So sweet. I'm gonna die. We're going to have plenty of wonderful evenings, I promise. And being open with each other is the best way to make sure they stay wonderful. This is unlike me, too. Usually on the first day of a relationship, I'm still a bumbling bag of nerves. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I move too fast or too slow? I don't think it matters now, because you're both not alive. Sorry. But it's different, Abigail. That fear isn't there. I can't quite explain why. I just feel like I don't have to worry with her. I was thinking about other happy days that I've had. How long it's been since then, and how the memories have since soured. How much have I told you about my sister? I really hope her sister isn't who I think she is. I really hate that the music has stopped. Not much. You mentioned that the two of you were close and that you spent a lot of times in the woods together, but that's it. Oh, Helena. We weren't just close. Helena and I were inseparable. Whenever anything went wrong, she would always be there to protect me. She swore that would never change. Never mind. My theory was wrong. Don't listen to me. But fate had other plans for the two of us. She trails off. Every other time she's mentioned her sister, it's only in passing. Her story last night about tracking deer is the only solid detail I have about her. At first, I expect her to stay quiet like before, but instead she keeps talking. For as long as it's existed, Eysenfield has had a curse, you could call it. A terrible monster who would destroy the village if given the chance. To appease its terrible rage, we would offer a sacrifice to it. Wait, isn't that the forest spirit? Every generation a new offering would be chosen, but it didn't just want flesh. The head priest would take the sacrifice into the forest to be offered to the horrible spirit. The sacrifice's soul and the head priest's body would both be consumed. Oh God. Then the new head priest would emerge, having taken the form of the poor sacrifice victim. It was a painful reminder of those we had lost. Hold on, let me wrap my head around this. What? Okay. So they're making sacrifices to this cursed monster. And then every generation, they have to make an offering. Huh. When I found out that it would be a member of my family who is to be taken and given over, I wasn't shocked. There was only one thing that I cared about. That it wouldn't be my beloved Helena who was harmed. Her voice wavers before she falls silent. Before I can tell her that she's said enough, she speaks again. Each word shakes as it leaves her mouth. I couldn't forget the joyous days of our childhood. I couldn't let such a kind soul suffer such a horrible fate. So, when the time came, I offered myself. I volunteered to die so that Helena could live. And in that very moment where our fates were sealed, I looked at them, at Helena, and do you know what I saw? Captivated by her tragic story, I can't even answer. I don't move my head or my lips. Relief. Oh, fuck, that's fucked. Not once did she try to stop me or change my mind. Not that I would have let her, but I don't think she even thanked me. My parents cried, of course, but they didn't argue either. Neither of them stepped forward to take my place. No one did. While I'm sure my sacrifice was appreciated, I was quickly discarded without even a token effort of gesture or of appreciation. My sister, who had sworn to always protect me, had no difficulty accepting the fact that I would die for her. Oh, that's a lot to unpack. What, she just gave you away? Just like that? If death looms over you for long enough, it corrupts everything, even love. It didn't corrupt you. Perhaps, though I believe that's why I'm still here today. What do you mean? The first step of the ritual involved separating the sacrifice's body from its soul. From what she told me, as she did it, those poor victims usually try to resist, begging for someone else to be taken, and when their souls are ripped away, they're too damaged to carry on. But I didn't resist. I went peacefully, and so the gentle forest spirit, who I'd been raised to believe was some kind of demon, eventually came and took me away. And I've been here ever since. So there wasn't a monster? Huh? Or there was a monster, and there's a good forest spirit. But the town was under the belief that, the good forest spirit was the monster, when in fact, it's been the thing that's in Evelyn all along. Her words carry a sense of finality. Not knowing what else to do, and still stunned by her story, I simply lean closer to her and, pull her into an embrace. Yeah, that is fucked. Sorry for the swears, don't worry about it. This is not a Christian stream. There aren't any words that could be enough. Physical comfort is all I can offer. To my surprise, though, when she finally pulls away from me, she looks happier than before. Just like I did earlier, she touches my cheek gently, and then leans in for a kiss. Thank you for listening. I've told the one person who matters, and now, I think I can heal. I know, sweetheart. I love you. More than anything. I love you too. More than anything. It's so wholesome, but it sounds so weird when I'm, reading it to myself. She sighs contentedly and leans against my shoulder. She takes my hand, intertwines her fingers with mine. We sit there for a long time. We don't say anything. We don't even move. All we do is watch the sky and feel each other's heartbeats. I wake up with a headache, and I know that something's wrong. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to leave it here for now. This is, I always leave it at the worst spot. But hey, that's the YouTube business. From what I heard, there was never a catastrophe in the forest. Maybe one of the incarnations of Evelyn propagated the idea. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something like that. Um, like Evelyn's the real monster, but she pretty much has everyone under her control. I say Evelyn, it could be some kind of old demon. But yeah, under her control, tells them not to go to the forest. Maybe some enemy of the forest spirit. I wouldn't have a clue who Evelyn really is, though. There's also the fairies, but I don't know if she actually ties into them. No, Nate, there's no formatting, unfortunately. But yeah, next time we'll hopefully find out who Evelyn really is. Still hold my theory. Oh, the Fairy Queen theory? It could be anything. I'm still not sure. I don't even have a theory in my head anymore. I thought I knew what was going on, but I don't know. Some kind of demon or the opposite of the forest spirit. That's likely it. Maybe? I don't know. The fairies seem, I don't know, benevolent? Well, benevolent enough. But we'll see. The head priest might be Evelyn. The sound? Soul? I still need to wrap my head around it. Evelyn is a human-sized ant? What? Okay. Let's put on some copyright-free music. Yeah, it's a possibility. You defeat her with a giant magnifying glass. Oh, if only. Oof. This is the end of the stream. Yeah, so yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Thanks for watching, if you are watching on YouTube. And yeah, wow. I will stream more of this. I think I'll hold Mother 3 off until I finish this game. Maybe. I'll play whatever I feel like, right? Yeah, thank you for coming, and take care of yourselves. I'm pretty psyched to see what happens next, especially since this is a big cliffhanger. I always leave it at cliffhangers. Yeah, good night everyone, or good morning, or afternoon. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, right, and usually streams are around 7 p.m. Central. Here, I'll type it in the chat. This is usually the time I start them, because, well, that's when it's I got a little time after I get off school. Yeah, good night, everyone. Bye.